if you search this on Google, it'll be one of the first things that the results come up is, why should I see a financial advisor when I have an accountant who does my taxes, sees my finances? How are you different to an accountant?
Okay, so very different than accountants. Accountants are really looking at taxes, and they're looking at the tax implications of what you're doing, and that's great. My father is a renowned accountant. He's my accountant, and he's terrific. But the things that a financial planner looks at are in some ways more detailed, and in some ways even bigger pictures than an accountant, where we got unlimited minutes, yay. Okay. Whereas a financial planner is really looking at sometimes a bigger picture and sometimes more detail. I'll give you an example. I worked with a couple this past week who had been doing a fabulous job of keeping track of all of their expenses. They knew those expenses to the dime. They knew how they were paying for them, where they were paying for them, what vehicle they were using to pay for them. But when we looked at the bigger picture and we started to look for a 12-month scenario, we realized that they were like short about $1,000 a month. And by the end of the year, they were on track to be in the hole $12,000. That's not something your accountant's going to look at. They're not looking at your budget. They're not looking at your day-to-day expenses. They're going to look at what your annual income is and what the tax implications are. And a good accountant may even be able to guide you and ask more questions. But they're not looking at those details. They're not focusing on that. That's just not what their job is. It's not what they're paid to do. And I think when you have a team, I think as people have more disposable income and more wealth that's built, they do tend to develop a little bit more of a team. Maybe it's somebody who's in insurance, maybe it's an accountant, maybe there's a financial planner involved, maybe there's an attorney, maybe they have trusts, maybe they have wills, and those are all very, very important pieces of a puzzle. Most of the people that are coming for these services to Achiezer are not at that level. They're not looking at a big team. If they're paying an accountant, which many of them are, it's really to do a basic return at the end of the year. So this would be very different. This would be really looking at starting off with the little nitty gritty. What are you spending day to day? What are you earning? And then how does that look long term? How does that look in 10 years and 20 years, et cetera?